Uncontrollable sweating before making an important speech on stage, a headache while taking a major exam, and feeling out of breath when receiving devastating news about the death of a loved one. These are all signs that you are experiencing stress. But what exactly is stress? What happens to our body when we experience stress? And how should we cope with it? According to leading psychologist Richard Lazarus, stressful encounters are dynamic, complex, and personal. Taking into account Lazarus's view on stress, modern-day psychology encompasses the complex nature of stress by creating three categories of factors that cause stress based on the magnitude of each event, which are, first, cataclysmic events including natural disasters such as floods and earthquakes, and intentional violence such as terrorist attacks. Second, life events or positive or negative events that produce changes in people's lives that require adaptation, such as getting a raise or losing a pet. Third, daily hassles or everyday events that create repetitive chronic distress, such as noise pollution from a morning rush hour. Despite each factor being quite different from the other, people could end up with a serious chronic illness if they haven't dealt with their source of stress properly. But why? When our body perceives that stress is occurring, the fight and flight response is activated, and the sympathetic division of our body's automatic nervous system either stimulates the sympathetic nervous system or the production of hormones to warn, hey, something bad is coming, you better get prepared. Then, the pituitary gland in our brain releases a hormone called ACTH, which in turn affects the adrenal cortex near it to release another hormone called glucocorticoid. The release of glucocorticoid prepares the body to resist the stress and even to cope with injury by the release of yet another hormone called cortisol, which is the most important out of all the hormones released. The levels of cortisol not only could be used as an index for stress, but also affect the functions of major organs. As some wise man on the internet once said, it's never too good to have too much. When our body is constantly in this fight and flight state, we may feel too much pressure from unreleased stress, resulting in a higher chance of getting chronic diseases such as depression, heart disease, gastrointestinal problems, and many, many more. To prevent this tragic result, coping with stress is very important. But how? When feeling too stressful, the best way of coping with stress is adopting a problem-focused coping mindset or asking yourself, what is the root problem that caused the stress to occur and how do I get rid of it? For example, when thinking about an upcoming exam that is making you super stressed out, you could ask yourself, why am I so stressed out about this exam? What is making me worry so much about it? In my case, when I think about my calculus exam, I worry about failing because I'm not the best at calculus. In this case, I identified the root problem, which is a lacking capability in the subject area of math. After identifying the problem, I could then find a way to solve it. Since being bad at math is the problem, I could just find ways to improve my math skills before the exam, such as creating a daily study plan where I read through the textbook, do practice questions, and go over my class notes. With this problem-focused coping mindset, I am now less stressed about my upcoming calculus exam because I feel like I have solved the problem or eliminated the source of stress. However, when experiencing stress that is too much to handle by yourself, it is still best advice that you visit a local therapist who will definitely be able to help. So, people go through stress every day, and it is definitely not the best feeling ever. That's why posing the negative feelings of stress as a problem that could be solved will definitely make it feel more manageable. However, don't stress yourself out with the thought that you have to cope with stress in a certain way. Sometimes, just relaxing, having a nice cup of tea while reading your favorite book could also be the best way of getting rid of your negative emotions. In the end, it's all about finding a way to tell your body that there's no need to worry because everything is going to be okay.